Just as I suspected, Jasper's putting out a video about why it's better to date a city girl than a province girl in the Philippines in 2023. It's because he's dating a quote-unquote city girl right now. So he's sitting here and he always has to talk himself up. He has to try and make his life seem more glamorous than it is. He has to make himself seem so, I'm such a high-value man and all this. So, of course, he came out and he's saying now, oh, it's so much better. And the reasons he gives are very stereotypical. And it seems like he doesn't have a lot of experience. He claims, oh, I've have a lot of experience dating women from the province. No, I don't think so. First of all, Jasper's never even been to the province, any of the provinces. He's been nowhere outside of the major metropolitan areas. He's been to Manila, he's been to Boracay, he's been to Cebu, and he's spent like 2 weeks in Cebu total. I think 2 separate trips, and Siargao, I think, is the most province he's gotten, and he complained the whole time about Siargao and how it is. So, I mean, he has no actual experience even visiting provinces, really. He's just sort of in the more major cities, in the tourist developed areas, and that's all that he has experience with. So he's talking about, oh, I've dated these girls from. No, you have not. No, you have not. So everything he says here is going to be just stereotypical, and he's going to try and act like he knows what he's talking about, and he doesn't.
So why dating a city girl is better than dating a province girl in the Philippines in 2023? A lot of people will tell you province girl is the best. You know, you need to get yourself a good province girl. And I take nothing away from province girls. I've met some amazing province girls in my 15 months here in the Philippines that I've lived here nonstop, haven't left, etc. But as somebody that's done both now and has a lot of experience with province girls and has now been with a city girl for months, I have to say that there are some drawbacks to dating a province girl. That's the cliche, and that's what everyone will always say, or that's what all the YouTube videos say, or that's what a majority of the vloggers have as their wife or girlfriend, is a province girl. From the Dumaguete guys with Negros girls, to guys out in Leyte, to guys that are in the big cities that, you know, are with a province girl that they either moved to the city or was in the city working or whatever the case. And I think that a city girl is better than a province girl if you can get one. I think you know, a city girl, as I've said in previous videos, has to really want you because she probably won't need you. A woman that's born and raised in the city may be solidly on her feet, and a woman that's even been in the city for, you know, a year or two will more than likely have a call center job or you know, have figured something out, be working in real estate.
Jasper's used call centers and women who work in call centers as an example of a Filipina who's made it, right? And who doesn't need your money. And, oh, she works in a call center. She's a high value. She earns a lot. Call center workers make between 15 and 20,000 pesos a month. That's $250 to $350 a month. Now, I understand there are lower paying jobs, especially on the province, but like, that is not, he's using that as like, oh, she doesn't need your money. She's balling. She's got it. $250 to $350 a month. And usually that comes along with having to live in a more expensive area because you're not in the province. So you have to use that $250 to $350 a month to pay for a higher housing cost and then higher overall cost of living because you're in a city that costs more than the province. So I don't know why he constantly uses this as an example of like, oh, girl's made it. She's gotten a call center job. We're talking about a difference between about $250 a month and maybe $100 to $150 a month in the province, right? So this is what the difference of having a call center job and then working out in the province. This is how much you're making, depending on what you're doing. But this is the difference that Jasper said. Oh, it makes all the difference that she makes the extra $100. It doesn't. It doesn't. Like, oh, she doesn't need your money. She makes an extra $100 a month, so an extra $1,200 a year. So she doesn't need your money. No. There is virtually no difference in terms of, if you're coming from the West, how much money a girl in the province makes or a call center worker in a city. There is almost, it is $100 a month. That is no money at all to people coming from the West. So I don't know why he uses this as like an example of like, this person needs your money. She's totally looking to get out of this situation. The call center girl, totally not. Totally different. I am going to just completely pretend that this is the case and that she's totally good. She's set.
Whatever the case may be. So there's not going to be the need factor that you would get necessarily with a province girl, where a lot of province girls, and there's no fault in this, are kind of looking for a way out. And if I was a province girl, I would be looking for a way out too. And I'd take nothing away from them if they were to get with a guy that was maybe not winning any handsome contests, or, a couple years older than they wanted really, but they, are sort of doing what they have to do. And you can fall in love with anyone that looks any way at any age, if they have a great personality or they do enough for you or whatever. Over time, you will grow fond of that person. But a province girl will have some drawbacks, as in, like, a lot of province girls are not super worldly young ladies. They've mainly probably been working, like, if their parents have a farm, or things of that nature. They may have never had a bank account. They may not have a lot of real life experience. They may have never been on an airplane. They may have never been to the city, with the exception of maybe having go to Manila at some point in their life for some reason, or business reason or something. But yeah, I think that a city girl is just a city girl a lot of times will have perfect English. A city girl a lot of times will be very smart. A lot of these city girls have been to many neighboring countries, Bali, Thailand, Vietnam, sometimes even the richer Asian countries like the Japans and stuff like that. So
my wife was born and raised in the province. She's also college educated. She's been to over 50 countries, and she's lived in Japan and the US. So this notion that like all of these province girls are like, oh, they're just farm girls, they're rural. Jasper is taking the stereotype that is used in the West as well, right? Oh, them city folk are so educated and smart, and the people who live outside the cities are dumb, uneducated, they don't know about the world going on around them. And that's just not the case. To sit here and say this universally, it's not. And Bali is not a country. He said this before, and I thought he misspoke, and he's saying it again. Bali is a province in Indonesia. Bali is not a country. He said this before. He said countries and used Bali, just like he did here, like, oh, Vietnam, Bali. Like, Bali is not a country. Indonesia is a country. This is how little Jasper actually knows about even the neighboring countries around him. But he can speak about how the province girls don't know anything. But this guy, this guy doesn't even look at a map. This guy has no idea what is around here, where places are.
I just feel like if you can get a city girl, it might be a better transition for a Western man than dating a woman that there's a lot of things that you will need to teach a province girl, and a province girl may have limited knowledge of certain things that a city girl, and I know a lot of guys aren't looking for this, but will be sort of more like a Western woman while still retaining those core Filipina values. And sometimes a city girl won't show you that all at once. Like with the girl that I'm dating, you know, she was very Western and very not clingy. And every Filipina that I've came into contact with was very clingy after the first meeting and stuff. A lot of, hey, when can I see you again? When can I come over again? And, you know, this girl was not like that at all. And then as soon as we became official, she showed me that she really was a real Filipina and doting on you and really, really showing me that, like, why Filipinas are the best women in the world. And I thought she just didn't have it in her. And I was okay with it because I wasn't struggling with Western women. I just didn't really mind dating sort of a westernized woman in the Philippines because it just wasn't that big of a deal for me.
This is a joke. Jasper dedicated his channel, like the first year of his channel was about how Western women are terrible and how you need to escape Western women and come out here to Southeast Asia. And so now he's like, oh, I didn't mind. Also, I didn't have any issues. I never had any issues getting Western women. Definitely not. I just need to say that. You guys don't think that I did. And I didn't mind dating a Western woman here in the Philippines. It's totally cool, guys. I totally changed my stance overnight on Western women and the fact that, oh, well, I'm good with it, no problem. Yep. Yeah, no, that's highly unlikely. He spent the first year to year and a half of his channel literally talking about how terrible Western women are, how you need to get away from them. His live streams were all about it. All of his videos were about it. He's talked about it constantly, and suddenly now he's had a change of heart, right?
It was okay for me. She's still beautiful, and she still had some of that little tinge of Filipina in her, but she was very backed off and very, you know, playing it cool and not clingy one bit, and, you know, just the opposite of, you know, a dozen women that I had met before her.
It sounds like she just wasn't interested. Like Jasper's like, oh, I don't know why. She just really wasn't talking to me and really wasn't showing interest for some reason. And she was playing it cool, and like that just sounds like she's not interested in you whatsoever. Like these other women were talking to me, and this one just didn't. So I don't know. It's just a weird thing. She's totally playing it just cool. Like, no, it sounds like she's not interested.
But once we became official, or maybe when she fell for me for real, she started to show me that she really was a traditional Filipina. And, you know, you kind of get the best of both worlds with a city girl. You know, my girl was born and raised in Manila, but still, you know, Filipinas are certainly superior to Western women in the way that they will treat you.
But you just said, oh, I thought she was like a Western woman, and I was totally cool with that. So, like, were you really? Like, is that really? I don't know. Something's not adding up here. It's very weird that you would say, like, you've spent so much time talking about how terrible Western women are, and now you're suddenly okay with dating a Western woman, but then she acts like a Western woman. She doesn't. I don't know. It sounds like, truly, it sounds like what you're trying to do is you're trying to make it sound like for yourself, and trying to portray this, right? You're trying to portray that she is, oh, she didn't need me. I'm not some, you know, guy that came here that is now with a woman who needed me. She totally didn't need me, and our relationship is better than these other relationships because, and like, I'm a higher value man. This is basically what it seems like he's trying to get across. That, like, he is, oh, I'm dating a higher value woman. That means I'm a higher value man. These other men in the province have these women who basically are dating them because they need to date them in the province. But my girl definitely doesn't. She wasn't really, she wasn't even that interested. But now we're together, and now she's showing me that she's a Filipina and all that. This is what the overall, like, story that Jasper's trying to get across here is that he's a higher value man, that it's totally not a low value move of him to be dating a Filipina, but it is for other men because other men are going to the province and talking to women who are only with them because they need someone. So he's twisting this logic around in his own brain and trying to present it to everyone as though, well, everything that I say about that actually doesn't apply to me, but it applies to everyone else. This is sort of how he's trying to do these mental gymnastics to get around all of the other things that he says.
And, a province girl, I couldn't really make it make sense. It was too big of a leap for me. And I also, wanted somebody that had their own money. I wanted somebody that had some ambition and some stuff going for themselves. And I wanted someone that was, going to be okay with me not supporting their family. And I wanted someone with excellent English. And I wanted someone that had smarts. And I just wanted this big, long checklist of things that didn't really seem possible to get.
I said this in the last video that I made, but Jasper wants to pick and choose the gender roles, essentially. Even though he wants a traditional female, he wants a traditional woman, but she should have her own money. He complains about the Western women who say, I have my own money. I don't need a man for that. He complains about women who say that and who act that way, but he comes here and he takes that mentality with him, and he's like, oh, I don't like that, but I want this traditional woman, even though I'm not going to be a traditional man. I want a traditional woman who's going to provide basically for herself, who has money, because let's face it, I don't have a lot of money, and therefore I can't really provide you as much as a lot of other people can. But Jasper doesn't even want to take on the sole breadwinner position, even though, and that would be fine, right? But he still expects the woman to essentially take on all of the feminine gender roles that would come along with the relationship, plus the masculine role of having her own money. So that is, again, it's not wrong to expect, if you want someone to have, make their own money, whatever, to each their own. You can all decide how that works best for you. But when you start picking and choosing, you're acting like a Western woman who says, I don't want to be a traditional woman, but you need to act like a traditional man. I want full equality, but you should hold the door for me. But you should be a gentleman, but you should pay on the first date. Anytime we go out, you should be paying. This is sort of how Jasper is, but it's in the opposite direction now. He is the man saying these things, but also you should have money. That's what he's doing here.
I wanted someone that would put me first and not behind her family and not have her parents making decisions for them and things of that nature. And a lot of province girls are very, very tightly intertwined with their family. And so are city girls, and my girl is. But she's able to put me first, and she's the breadwinner and she's the biggest earner in the family. So in that sense, when you're like that and your parents are financially stable, you kind of do whatever you want. That's just kind of the rules. He or she who has the gold makes the rules in a sense. Although you do respect your family, you will make the final decision, especially if you're in your 30s. You know what I mean? If you're a younger girl, or you don't have any money, or you're living in the province, or whatever, maybe not. But I just think a city girl is a better fit if you can get it.
See, that right there, Jasper saying, if you can get it. He's saying, oh, you have to be a higher level man to get this a city girl, right? That's just him patting himself on the back, being like, oh, well, I am a higher level man than these other people who are getting women that are not directly living in the city. That's all that is.
A lot of guys don't want to live in the city, so I get it. This is not a knock on province girls. There were some amazing province girls that I met. But I just couldn't make it make sense because I didn't really want to be a financier.
You're saying it's not a knock, but what have you said about province girls in this video? Honestly, let's take a look. You've said they're not as intelligent. They said, oh, they're smarter if they live in this city. You've said that. You said their English isn't as good, that their English probably isn't as good for some reason. I don't know why. You've also said that they maybe haven't had a bank account, that they wouldn't know how to operate a bank account, that maybe they have no idea what's going on in the world around them when you think Bali's a country. But like, so you're really speaking in a condescending way about province women, but then you're like, oh, it's not a knock on you. It's just you're just stupid as fuck, right? That's all. I mean, but really, it's not a knock though. But you're dumb. You're unaware of the world around you. You don't speak good English. And really, city girls are better than you. But it's not a knock. I've met some really good ones, but you're just dumb as fuck. That's all. Like, but not in a bad way, right? Like, that's not a bad thing, right? Your standards are just so much lower because you live in the province and you don't have as much money as a city girl does. So you're willing to just accept terrible, low-value men as a province girl. But it's not a knock on you, right? It's not a knock that you'll date, you'll be 20 and you'll date a 60-year-old. It's totally not a knock. I'm not saying it is a bad thing that your standards are basically non-existent. That's all. But I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, guys. I don't want to get in trouble with any Filipinas here. So I'm going to sit here and pretend like I'm totally not speaking in a completely condescending way about the majority of the Filipinas in this country. But it's not a bad thing.
Not even 100% of a woman, and certainly not it trickling down to the family. I just could never make that make sense. I don't mind being generous or giving gifts and stuff, but I couldn't even make that make sense with a woman, just moving a woman in at, my mid 40s and just paying for every last penny of everything.
See, there it is. It's the I want to pick and choose. I don't want to provide financial support. Why would I want that as a man in a relationship? Why would I need to do that? I talk about traditional values and all these other things, but why would I pay for a woman that I'm dating or looking to marry eventually? Why would I be the one that has to provide money for that? That doesn't make sense. This is the mark right here. What Jasper's saying here, that is a low value man. He talks about being a high value man. That is a very, very low value signal right there. What he just said, low value man. Men are providers, men are protectors, and basically Jasper's like, oh, I don't want to do that. Like, why would I want to do that? Because you're supposed to be a man. You're supposed to be a man. You're still a child. I say this all the time about how you're a kid. You're a kid. I don't know what happened to you that stopped your mental development at 12 years old, but it stopped. It stopped. You have not matured past that. Your idea of providing is really not providing her to have her own job and pay for her stuff. And your idea of protecting is what, slamming the door in some poor worker's face in your Uptown Park suites because he's trying to speak through the door to tell you to pull your garbage back in. So that's providing and protecting. Those are your ideas of what those should be. Low value and immature.
And, if I was a little bit older, I'd probably do it. If I met the right girl and I fell for her, I'd probably do it. If I met a girl and she was making $7 a day and I decided to retire, I would do it. But I just simply didn't have to. And I think that it's just more of an easy transition for a Western guy. It's kind of like you get the best of both worlds and you get that girl that does have those Filipino values, whether they're evident when you first meet them or whether they take a little time to kind of show you them when they truly do fall for you, if they fall for you. But yet you get somebody that really is just a little bit more worldly and a little bit more, maybe gets sarcasm better, gets flirting better, whatever the case may be. And there's some amazing province girls, and I can think of even a couple of channels that their wives are province girls, and they are absolute 10s and amazing. And I won't say any names, but again, this is totally, subjective, and you could, tell me I'm wrong in the comments and that you got a great province girl, or you can agree with me if you have a city girl.
Yeah, see how that works out. Go and comment that you disagree with him, and he will immediately belittle you, and he'll either block you or he will just delete your comments so that no one can see. He always invites this, like, hey, if you disagree with me, go ahead and write it in the comments, and we, and that he acts like there will be like civil discussion or that like he'll leave it, and none of that ever happens. he always just shits on you. He's like, "Oh, you disagree with me? Well, you're a terrible fucking person. How dare you? And I'm gonna delete your comment. I'm gonna block you. You can't say anything anymore. How dare you?" But he continues to say it in these videos, like, "Oh, go ahead. If you disagree, let me know, and I'm open to it." No, you're not.
But I think for me, I would lean towards city girls in the future, no matter what, even if it didn't work out with the woman that I'm currently in a new relationship with. And I think it's a great deal if you can get a good one. And I think you should just be cautious with whoever you meet, because there's good and bad in every, sector of the Philippines, whether that be a province or a city girl. But I think that I just hit it off better with city girls. And I think that there's a little bit less learning and a little bit less that needs to be taught, for lack of a better term, to a city girl than a province girl. If you move a province girl to BGC or IT Park or something, and I just think there's a lot to learn from going from sort of like the farm to a first world city in a sense. So that's just my take on it. City girls all the way. Love province girls. I'm sure there'll be plenty of people that will disagree with me in the comments, but this is just my feeling on it. And either way, if you can get a good Filipina, you're set for life. But city girls, BGC girls, a Cebu girl, Davao girl, Iloilo, anything like that, I think that's really the move. Okay, guys, like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and sana all.
So just final thoughts on this. Jasper never truly gives criteria for what constitutes a city girl, right? He said, like, oh, if she's born and raised in the city, okay, we can go with that. But he's also said, like, if they're there for like a year, like, does he honestly believe that if you spend 20 years in the province and then you go to the city, he's asserting that you're just so backwards in the province, right? And then what, a year in somewhere like Cebu or Iloilo is going to just completely like turn that around? Is that what he's asserting here? I mean, if he truly believes there's that big of a difference, this is why I'm like, what is the actual criteria here? How long does a girl have to be in the city for him to consider her a city girl? There are so many people, not just women, that go from the province to the city to work, right? This is very common. This is why when you go out in the cities that you're in, right? If you go out and look around at who is running the cities, who's working, they are younger people. Look who's doing construction. Look who's working at the restaurants, the hotels. Look who's working in the airports. Look who's working even in the hospitals. Aside from a few places where you'll see older doctors, where the more desirable doctors or the more desirable hospitals, where the doctors want to be, like St. Luke's, Makati Medical, Ortiga's Medical City, and a few of the other ones outside of Manila. Aside from that, even young people, young doctors in the hospital you're going to see, young doctors and nurses. You're going to see young people running the cities, because this is what happens in the Philippines. When you're younger, you go to the city. That's where you work because you make a little bit more money. And then as you get a little bit older, you move back to the province because it's cheaper, and you go back there, and obviously it's a lot less crowded of a lifestyle and a lot less intense. So as you get older, that becomes a little bit more desirable than having to deal with the crowdedness of these cities. So Jasper's criteria for setting what a city girl is and what a province girl is, in his head, he's just like, well, my girl's a city girl and city girls are better, so let me try and justify this in a video. And that's basically what it is. That he really has no idea. And again, he's never been to provinces. He's never ever really been. He's been to where? Manila. He's been to Metro Manila. He's lived in Makati and BGC in Manila. He's been to Cebu for less than a month. He always talks about how he has this great experience in Cebu. Not only has he complained about how dirty it is, how terrible it is for expats, how you shouldn't go to Cebu. Like, he talks about, oh, I've been to Cebu. I've been there. He's been there less than a month has he spent there. And he's been to what, Siargao? And he complained the entire time because it was the most province-like place that he's been, and all he did was complain. And then what? Boracay. And he's got a shack there that he pays $200 for. That it's funny because he just made a video about him going to Boracay, but he didn't actually stay in his place because he didn't want his new girl, to see what a shack, what the studio apartment that apparently he pays $2 to $250 a month for on the beach of Boracay. Look up properties. I want you to go. If you wonder, like, oh, I wonder what kind of property Jasper has that he's renting in Boracay, go and look up what $250 a month will get you, and you'll see what he has. And he's like, I have an ocean front. It's not ocean front. He's admitted to it before, like, oh yeah, no, it's not actually on the ocean. It's not actually on the beach. It's a couple blocks off. But so it's some tiny little shack that he lives in that he calls his like beachfront Boracay luxury property that he doesn't even stay in, right? So, anyways, his criteria is completely flawed. The bottom line here is his criteria is completely flawed. All this is self-serving to make himself feel better about his current girl that apparently he's been with for months, and just to feel better about himself because he's what? He's got I got a city girl, therefore I'm higher value than these other people. No, you're not. No, you're not. Thanks for watching, guys. I want to try and cut this as quickly as possible. It's already gotten too long, so thanks for watching. I'll see you guys soon.